Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the opposite of what you experienced yesterday. Don't get me wrong. It was a fantastic show. Bill, where are you? Oh, so congrats with your ladies. And Tim, that was fantastic. Great customers, great setup. I didn't get the budget. So we do it old style, a few PowerPoints, some talking, much more about IT. That's all what I can do. I can't do this. So this is the low-cost keynote. We have some good news. We counted and counted and counted and found more and more customers. We ended up with 50,000 HANA customer licenses. This includes the 8,000 success factors. We counted 200 peer-reviewed academic publications about HANA. The largest customer has 72 terabytes, 48 terabytes on a single node, 100+ million transactions processed daily, 7 petabytes we counted in total. We will see later that is nothing. It is the foundation of the intelligent enterprise. Next slide. Do I have a forwarder here? With S/4HANA, our probably most important product in SAP volume-wise, 11K customers. Some reported 20 times faster planning, actually in some instances even more, but 20 times is pretty good. Database reduction in size, 7x. Does that matter? Yeah, it matters a little bit in cost. Everything has to be in memory. Was probably the bottleneck, was my decision more than 10 years ago. We have to be radical. I said, like with R3, the new system we built then on HANA will be for smaller companies, mass market. Yes, we do smaller companies now, but the large ones are knocking at the door. And the same happens, what happened 27 years ago with R3. We want to see now full functionality. We want to see all industries in the cloud, in the public cloud. The public cloud is the way to go. Therefore, I will only talk about the public cloud. There's much more going on in SAP, you know that, but I will concentrate on the public cloud. A company in Russia reported a 40% increase in productivity, a salami manufacturer. So we do a variety of things, obviously. Next slide. This is the one which is scary. This is the yellow bars. This is the development of data in a world. On the bottom left side, this is the launch of SAP HANA, the first prototypes. We could hardly see the amount of data, 2,000 exabytes. Now, 9 years later, we have 40,000 exabytes globally. ERP systems are not visible anymore there. That was a deliberate decision, but also a little bit a mistake. I saw the center of the world still in enterprise systems, in ERP systems, and CRM systems, and wanted to build new ones, at least prototypes, based on a database with nearly zero response time. If you have a database with zero response time, you know that we don't have to do pre-aggregation. The whole complexity of the last 40 years of enterprise computing with pre-aggregation above accounts, above products, above material has gone. We have no cubes anymore. We have no rotation of cubes. And is that the car coming? Thank you, Bill. Thank you. All the stuff we built over 30 years is gone. Complexity reduced. We ask a query. We run the query against the database because the data volume in ERP systems is really that small. And then, as we just learned, compressed by 7. So it's hardly visible anymore. We have no problem to run any of our customers in DRAM memory. Fact. I could say I declare victory, but when you look at this, from 2,000 to 40,000, going to, in the near future, to 175,000 exabytes, and I predict it will be more than this, because that is a hockey stick, and you cannot stop a hockey stick anymore. So we have to digest much more data inside a HANA system if HANA will become a database outside the ERP space or the CRM space. CRM space probably is already outgrowing the ERP space. And so we started on a development in HANA to accommodate these new challenges with new data volume, new processing types. HANA is too good a database just to lock it in inside SAP enterprise applications. Now I'm out of the HANA development for quite some time already. I still teach at my university. Actually, it's due in 6 weeks. So I asked for help, and who could better assist me than the new head of HANA Analytics and Data Warehouse Development in SAP. Please welcome Gerrit Katzmeier. There he is.
Hey, Hasso.
Hi, Gerrit.
Hey, Hasso.
Yeah, I just said this chart here. You remember you gave this to me? It's scary. It is scary. You did something with your development team to improve the capabilities of HANA significantly, and the new product we have announced, I think yesterday or the day before, SAP HANA Cloud today, SAP HANA Cloud Services. Give us a brief description of what you guys have done, and then we will have a dialogue. I will pick some of the developments I really appreciate most, and I'm the salesman. I try to sell them to you.
All right. So the HANA Cloud Services are all about bringing the brilliance of HANA to any data. And by any data, I mean data of any size and regardless of where it resides. Hasso just shared this amazing chart that we have 40 zettabytes of data. That is so large, it is incomprehensible. If 1 byte equals 1 star, then we have more data than we have the estimated amounts of stars in the entire physical universe. Mm-hmm. And while data is becoming such a vast resource, our customers, I think every company in the world finds it increasingly hard to connect this data to business outcomes. And when we had SAP HANA at SAP the first time, we had all the data in one place. We made it super fast. We put analytics and transactional processing in one system. So it became easy to work with data for applications and people. And it's about this simplicity. It's about this brilliance of HANA on any type of data anywhere. And as you can see on this chart, we have new types of data. We have new services generating data, from IoT to experience to new devices. And we have specialized storage systems. And the HANA Cloud Services connect all of them in one data fabric. They make them all appear as one. And through virtual access, the key property of the HANA Cloud Services, we are not moving data around. We are connecting to them where they reside. And because HANA is more than a virtualization layer, we also accelerate queries through HANA as you're accessing the data by transparently caching data in it. And of course, customers want to store the vast amounts of data also in the HANA Cloud Services. And this goes beyond main memory limitations. So we added the HANA Disk Store, the native storage extensions, and the HANA Data Lake based on Sybase IQ technology. On top of this, we have one data catalog, one semantic layer, one set of APIs, one SQL port. So it becomes one fast gateway to any data again. And that's the brilliance of HANA on any data.
That was a short introduction into HANA Cloud Services. Let's look at the data partitioning a little bit more detail. I was especially intrigued by that. Backstage, flip. Flip. We don't need this. I was talking about the HANA benefits now for 10 years, guys. I guess you know now, and if not, then it's probably too late. So, next one. Okay. So since the beginning, we can partition data in HANA vertically and horizontally. We have shown this in a large implementation at Walmart, where we beat all other database manufacturers in order to run queries against 200 billion point of sales records in record time. We split the data across at least 16 servers, and inside the servers, we also had multiple partitions. So partitioning is one way to split the data and have parallel processing. Then within a partition, we have parallel processing via the various nodes. So we have a massive parallel data access in HANA. Vertical partitioning, that we keep some attributes in one partition and other attributes in another partition. We do this mainly when we have normal formatted data and blobs for images, for text, etc. So this is just to revisit that. The data tiering Gerrit talked about is very important. We just free ourselves from DRAM is a must. When we look at data, what data do we use in business? We use the current year. What for do we use the last year? For year-to-year comparisons. The last 5 years, once in a while to see a development. My favorite hockey stick. Bill, is it coming? It's coming. He says it's coming now. You understand the hockey stick in sales of S/4HANA in the public cloud or all the other products we have. Hockey stick is coming. So we can partition data. And when we measure the utilization of the partitions, then we easily see current year, if we partition by year, is favored. Last year, probably less than 10%. 2 years back, less than 5%, and then it tapers off to basically 0. 10 years we have to keep in finance. A few years we might keep in materials management. In sales, we want to keep experience with the customers, development of the customers. So the famous company I talked about, they wanted to have first 5 years, then 10 years of point of sales data, indirect access. So what we learn now is partitioning is company specific. We have to do this individually. But once we have found a partitioning, so either by date of issue of an object or date of completion. I think most objects will be in ERP, date of completion. If an order is finally served, then we don't need it anymore except for some statistics. So it will stay in the year of completion, in the current year, and after that, it goes into -1, -2, -3. When we look at this data tiering, then it's obvious that older data, after this, looking at this partitioning criteria, might not be in direct access. So let us drop down one level, and that is the next one, SAP Native Storage Extension. Is there water here somewhere? Yeah. Thank you. This is on disk. If we don't access data, if we don't update it anymore because it's out of the business processes anyway, it's just statistics, we can keep it on disk. So we added this to HANA. It's part of a HANA, and that serves the archiving of data. We can have basically unlimited amount of data there. If you want to process the data actively, then we included, as Gerrit said, the Sybase IQ system, now the SAP HANA Data Lake. We can use as a separate system. We store the data there in column store, and we can store petabytes. And there are applications where we load data first in the HANA Data Lake, and then uproll into the in-memory parts, summaries of the data, findings of the data, machine learnings of the data, etc. We have some applications of that, and in the next couple of months, we have to share with our customers how we play with this now and what intelligent solutions we have found. So we have much more flexibility, and what we introduced already a while ago is we can have also access to Hadoop and other files directly. With this, partitioning and data tiering, we can really accommodate any kind of volume needs, performance needs, the flexibility. It is always in columnar store. We always have the full indexing. One SQL query, next one, can go through the whole system. Next slide. This is only showing the capacity we have from smaller than 100 terabytes down to exabytes. Yes, the access time is then a little bit different, but on the other hand, the price goes down. So not only that it's there, the price goes down. I was asked to go into one extension of HANA, which is currently, is that unique? Are we the first database with?
We are the first database to support it.
Yeah, so since I started this, I was asked to show you that. You can imagine who asked me. Into Obtain. We finally have the persistent memory, and we can play with that a lot. To give you a feeling, it helps us to increase the direct access terabytes on a system. If we have a system with 1.5 terabytes, we can have on the same system 6 terabytes of persistent memory. That gives us 7.5 terabytes, is quite an increase. And the cost per terabyte are then, the average cost per terabyte are then 20% lower. So that's a good deal. With persistent memory, we can do quite a lot of things. We can keep some data in there. So just think about, if you remember what I talked about 10 years ago, that we have in HANA a main storage and a delta storage. We only put data, new data, into the delta storage, and in the main, we keep the main consistent till we do the next merge, which happens once a day or once a week, depends on the frequency of data input. If we keep the main, which is the main body of data, in persistent memory, then you can switch the system off, switch the system on again, and it will be up within seconds because the data is already there in persistent memory. Very nice feature. And we do other things with that. Currently, we are the first database to provide this. Others will follow, obviously, because Intel will not only sell these servers to SAP. So great news. Keep this in mind. We are gearing the HANA cloud data services up for being used outside our system. We will use them. We will see this in a second in our system. But we expect that this system will be used outside. And in order to really be in the midst of the competition, we will launch the system first on AWS to compete with the 9 databases Amazon or AWS is offering in their cloud.
Can I add to this, Hasso?
Yeah, please jump in.
A very important piece of information to share with everyone who is running HANA today on-premise. Because it's not only about innovation that we bring to the HANA Cloud Services. Persistent memory is available in HANA 2 SPS04 already today. The native storage extensions to go beyond main memory limitations are available today. And the HANA Cloud Services are, in fact, the perfect extension point for everyone running HANA on-premise and who would run like a cloud scale-out scenario to have flexible pricing, dynamic resource allocation to their existing HANA deployment already.
Yeah, it is. I put emphasis on that HANA Cloud Services are obviously in the cloud because we move in the cloud much faster than anywhere else. So future development of SAP is taking place in the cloud first. So we run away as fast as we can now in the cloud. And then what we learn in the cloud, we will bring back to on-prem. We don't forget that our business is still to a large extent on-prem. Probably most of you run large on-prem instances of SAP, and we will update them as soon as we have really learned something and stabilized it in the cloud. Next slide. A tiny lecture. We have to go back to school. The vertical lines are columns in a column store. This is one table. If we access one record in a columnar store, then we have to access, and we need 4 fields out of 6. Then we have to access these 4 fields in the column at the relative position 471, for example. So we access memory 4 times. This is a little bit slower than in a row store database. But as long as we only access the fields we need and never do SQL star again, does anybody know what that means? Aha. Aha. Sinners. Sinners. Even in SAP, I found some. Never do that again, please. That was just a bridge from anything before SQL to SQL. So we declare exactly what kind of fields we want for the next processing, for the next algorithm. And if we do that, then the direct access is not much slower than in a row database. Most of the operations are not direct access. Most operations are scan and access. That is the next one. We filter. We run through one or multiple columns as fast as possible to identify the ones we want to have. For example, all orders for one customer. And once we have the orders identified for the customer, we read in the same manner like above the other fields. And then, actually, most applications are full scan. If we build a P&L statement on top of the line items, we run through all line items, aggregate them, and when we run through all line items, we run through all columns sequentially, the computer does something very helpful called prefetch. While we are processing some data, the computer says, oh, most likely you go straight forward. I get already the next data in line. This is the arrow going down in line in memory. So we are extremely fast. And guess what? The computer does that with DRAM, does that with persistent memory. We do this on disk, and IQ does this for many years on their on-disk system as well. Therefore, the columnar store for warehousing system was popular for many years. That we use it now for direct processing, real-time systems is actually the exception. And I tried to explain, but it is forgotten already. Since we are so fast in sequential processing, we don't need pre-aggregation anymore. Pre-aggregation was the #1 reason for updates. If anybody remembers, there were these benchmarks we tested computers with, the debit-credit benchmark. All these benchmarks were based on transactions come in. There are transactions which change data, and we always had to update aggregates. We don't update data anymore. We enter a new version and flag the old one as obsolete. We do not aggregate anything. We aggregate, pre-aggregate, and store it. We aggregate on the fly. Probably we keep caches, which is something completely different, but then we go too deep and fall back into the position to be a teacher, and then we spend the whole day. Just remember this. This is the single most important reason why the column store is so fast and why the separation that we do, the direct reads in direct memory, and we do the processing, even on machines or on storage, which has no good direct access with very good performance.
Exactly.
So this is what we have. Just show us a little bit, where is HANA now in our systems? Is it everywhere now? Are we done with the transition to HANA?
As you can see, the transition of HANA is virtually almost complete. SAP HANA is really not only the heart and soul of SAP's innovation, but also the heart and soul of SAP's data management strategy. And with all of these applications, not only running HANA as a database, but running HANA as a system for analytics, planning, simulation, machine learning, all of those workloads in the same system, it's not only making them faster, it's also making them better business applications, because they can just do more with the power of HANA.
Pretty impressive. When you look at this, then the impatient Hasso Plattner understands why it took longer than I thought. 5 years ago, when we started on the journey to move our systems onto HANA, I thought we will be done in 3 years max. Took a little bit longer. Sorry, but we also got more to do. We heard yesterday that we spend 70 billion in 10 years in either development or acquiring companies. So the workload got much bigger. We're nearly done. There's some work to do in SAP Ariba and probably in Concur, but that's it. Going forward, it is all on HANA. Back to HANA Cloud Services. When we look at a chart here of who is using HANA for non-SAP standard applications, it's just a chart of company names. The click is extremely slow. There it is. So don't read it. 5 years ago, Vishal had a much bigger one. These are really for proof of concept. These are really running applications they have built alone or together with SAP.
And I think we can debunk a big myth, Hasso, because there's somehow this conception that HANA is only for large enterprises, for complex scenarios. HANA is for everyone. And with the HANA Cloud Services, by making it low TCO, delivered as a service, virtually everyone can get started immediately with their HANA journey, like all of those small and mid-sized companies today.
And since now the NBA and the NHL are using HANA, I think some other ones can dare to do this. These are very tight managed franchises. are tightly managed franchises. So I think it's a good move. You told me you have built on top of the HANA Cloud Services already the first application.
Absolutely.
The SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. Tell us more about it.
SAP's Data Warehouse Cloud is, in my mind, the newest and coolest service in data management. It's the combination of HANA's flexibility and SQL processing with BW's governed approach to building an enterprise data warehouse. And we had one key principle in mind: design it for simplicity. So it goes beyond the typical IT professionals working in a data warehouse to anyone in the business who wants to work with data. And in a few seconds, we have Sonia coming on stage to show us the first live presentation of that new product. It's the first product built on the HANA Cloud Services. It shows you complete elasticity, complete scalability, and the ultimate performance of HANA for everyone. Sonia, stage is yours.
Thank you, Garrett. Hello, Hasso.
Hi.
Good morning, everyone. One person, I loved it. All right, picking up where you guys just left off, we clearly have access to an unprecedented amount of data. The problem that we face today, however, is that it's extremely hard to consume this amount of data, which causes businesses, you and me, to leave insights on the table. SAP Data Warehouse Cloud solves this problem. It allows business users to independently connect and bring together all their data in real time, be it centrally managed data that your enterprise has curated for you, or data that you choose to bring in from external data sources. And it doesn't stop there. SAP Data Warehouse Cloud comes out of the box with the broadest advanced analytics and pre-built templates, allowing you as a business user to gain insights from your data instantly. Let me show you an example. I'm logged in here as the marketing manager of a bike company, and this is my home screen. My home screen is set up to help keep me up to date on my business. Now you can see that I have all my KPIs listed on the left, and from here I can unfortunately see that my marketing influence revenue is in the red. It's clearly falling short of expectations. Now, I know that this report updates in real time, so I'm curious as to when my revenue started to drop. Luckily, through the natural language processing of this product, I can ask the system the question, and soon it'll help me not have to spell. But I'm asking the system the question, show me my marketing influence revenue over time. All right. From these automatic insights that the system generated for me so quickly, I can quickly see that there was a significant drop in my revenue in the last 24 hours. I feel like it was something to do with me being here at Sapphire and not checking my alerts, but all right. OK. Now, I know that my customer base is incredibly active on Twitter, and I have been noticing a flurry of activity over the past few days, but I don't know for sure if there's a correlation here, and I don't want to base my decisions on my gut. I want to actually base it on facts and data. At this point, it would be good for me to bring my marketing influence revenue information and my Twitter information together to see if there's any real correlation. Now, if we were working with any old enterprise data warehouse, this is where things would start to break down. Business users would literally have to download the data from their trusted data warehouse, download the Twitter data separately, and then find some way to combine this information on their local system to draw insights. The problem, though, with this incredibly manual process is that you're going to have multiple versions of your data flying around your organization. This data is not live, it's not secure, it's not up to date, and it's most certainly not a source of truth. Simply put, this data cannot be trusted, and any decisions you base off of this data will merely be a stab in the dark. Luckily, we don't have to go this route. In SAP Data Warehouse Cloud, we have this concept of spaces. This is where we allow business units across the organization to work independently in their own business space. For example, in my marketing space, my team and I can connect real time to all the data sources we need, bring in the corporate data, run reports, draw insights, all without impacting the integrity of the data in the other spaces. So that's exactly what I'm going to do right now, bring my data together in my marketing space. So first, I select marketing. From here, I'm going to select my global marketing data, which has the revenue information. From this connection panel on the left, a business user, me, you, anyone, can basically connect to any SAP or non-SAP data sources that they choose to connect to. And this list is, of course, ever-growing. Now, I've already connected my Twitter connection up, so what I'm going to do to bring my Twitter table in is just drag and drop the table onto the canvas. From here, I need to join this information. And I have to join this information on time, because I'm interested in the correlation in the last 24 to 48 hours on what happened on Twitter and what's happening correspondingly with my revenue. OK, once I've done all this, I've joined my data, I and you and any business user can query and explore this data in a multitude of ways. You could use SQL. You could look at the raw data. And since this product is completely open, you could hook it up to any analytics solution. The choice is yours. But what I really want to show you today is the built-in advanced analytics that comes with this product. Now, my marketing team and I have already created a used a predefined template to create our dashboard that we use to run our business. But now that we've added our Twitter data, let's take a look and see what impact we can find or what insights we can find. OK, from here, you can see that there's a definite correlation between my marketing influence revenue dropping and the average sentiment score dropping along with it. So basically, we were right, but it's really good to have this hard data to prove it. Now, when I go drill down into the tweets, I can see from the exact tweets that there seems to be an issue with the pedal assist of the new e-bike we just launched. Looks like the lag time is way too high. And one of the tweets in particular was made by an influencer. It clearly had a really wide reach. This is alarming feedback, and but all feedback is good feedback. And we can definitely solve this problem for our customers if we can share this information with the right teams. So what I'm going to do right now is quickly share this information with my sales, my manufacturing, and my marketing team so that we all have access to the same single source of truth.
So Sonia, Hasso, and I were talking about scaling and elasticity. And you are now starting to share data in Data Warehouse Cloud with multiple people. Mm-hmm. How does the system handle with that additional load?
Good question, Garrett. And I'm actually really glad you brought that up, because the elasticity of SAP Data Warehouse Cloud is my favorite component. OK, I've logged in. I've moved over to the admin view to show you what's happening under the hood. Now that I've shared this marketing report out with so many different people, let's see what's going on with my marketing space. From this graph here in the middle, you can see that the query response time for my marketing space is projected to exceed the recommended threshold. Now, to reduce this response time, I would need more compute resources. Before this product, I would just have to live with this lowered performance, or I would have had to stock up on unnecessary, expensive resources. But now I don't have to. This system is actually recommending that I reallocate compute resources to meet demand. And from here, you can see with this button that I can also apply this recommendation to the future, which means that in the future, this system will automatically allocate compute resources to meet demand. Once I do this, you'll see that the marketing space is functioning optimally again. The key thing that I want you to take away from this whole section is that no matter how much you use the system, how many users you have, how much you decide to share, the system is completely scalable and can keep up with you effortlessly. Performance will not be an issue. OK, one last thing to show you before I hand it back to Hasso and Garrett. I've opened up my Space Manager tab, and this is where you can access and see the live usage across all your different systems. Looking at all these spaces, you can see that most of these spaces are functioning optimally. However, this one space is marked in blue, which means it's cold and inactive. The system being intelligent is asking me to optimize the space, and looking at these options, it looks like I can hibernate it. Once I do that, you can see that it saves the company compute resources, which saves the company money. This product offers you complete control. Now, I know it's pretty cliche to say revolutionize at a trade show, but I'm going to say it anyway. SAP Data Warehouse Cloud revolutionizes data management. And I'm so excited that businesses like you and me will finally have access to the trusted data that we need to make decisions without doubt. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hasso and Garrett, for having me.
How cool is that?
2 times in the history of SAP, we really had something like this happening, that sales dropped out of the sky within 24 hours. One was 2008, Exodus at Wall Street. I was in Milano, and Henning Kagermann called me. Something happened, what happened never before. We will not make the numbers in our quarter. We failed miserably. And I asked, why, what happened? I was not on television. And that was the Lehman Brothers walking out of the building in New York. Probably this wouldn't have helped. But I found a few other, that's just the demo script. I found a few other things very intriguing. The word spaces. It took me some time till I understood what Garrett and his team has built there. And I never thought about that a database doesn't consist out of the database algorithms and the storage, and the two are together. For the history, my history, probably some other people have done this already, but I saw it the first time. We can separate those, and it's so easy to think about it. What did we do in '93? We separated the application logic from the database, residing on different computers, and then we separated the front end from the application logic, and we came out with 3-tier client server. Now we do something similar inside the database, and we let some processes run, database processes, run in database software, in HANA software, HANA code, outside the database. So we take the HANA code, put it on another server for simplification, and access the same data. Why do we do this? When we measure the SAP ERP system, we have, we are a mid-sized company, 100,000 people, roughly 30 billion in market cap, and we have a system which has less than 2 terabytes of data. 10% to 15% CPU utilization on the central HANA server. But now we want to do machine learning. We want to do iterations. You haven't talked about this, your favorite topic, the planning system. We want to do sophisticated application, more intelligence. We're preaching the intelligent enterprise. And they might behave differently than transactional system and classic roll-up reporting. Machine learning certainly does. We have now, for the first time, as we heard, the opportunity to create spaces and run significant applications, compute-intensive applications, on top of HANA, and the data is somewhere else. And then we can extend this, since we have there a HANA, we can put a storage underneath and have other data in this system, in this space. Or we can access other data, not only the data in the ERP system, but the data in the CRM system, the data in a non-SAP system, down to data in a Hadoop system. And all the processing doesn't impact the core ERP system. We have separation of concern. If something goes wrong, Nothing goes wrong with machine learning, but let me assume machine learning learns too slowly, and we have to abandon it and change the organization, the little help. We have to get the system to find relevant patterns. It doesn't affect the system, which is running 24/7 at all. Huge step forward. We can now, and that shows this picture, we cannot selectively access from outside portions of data of our operational systems, and we will come back in 30 minutes to that point again. Can share this or join this with other data from other sources and build new applications. The data warehouse is one. So all these applications will become data warehouse type applications. We can run them together, we can separate them. This is an organization we have to find individually per company. I think this is probably the biggest advantage of the future of SAP HANA-based systems. And did I say enough, or you have to add something, Garrett?
I don't have to, but I might.
You are invited.
Because, I mean, the awesome part about Spaces, and I have to smile when I'm saying this, because like you said, Hasso, I believe this is so groundbreaking. It lets us connect data and isolate resources. And this is amazing, because this means that everyone can now access, corporate data, experience data, third-party data.
Not everyone. You have to have you have to pass the security gate.
Of course,
okay.
Not everyone. Permission, and you need to have the HANA Cloud Services. And it lets you not only isolate this and build domains like marketing spaces, sales spaces, and interconnect them. It also gives you complete cost control, because like we saw in the demo, they're completely dynamically priced by what you use. And they are technically isolated, so don't interfere with each other. And if we go to the next slide, we will talk about the technical underpinnings, which is the big advancement that we made in database engineering, which is making this possible. A complete separation, like Hasso said, of the data plane and the compute plane. The data plane needs to be secure. It needs to be scaling. It needs to be low TCO. It needs to be addressing the entire data pyramid that we looked at a few moments ago. And it needs to be absolutely fault tolerant. I was almost not coming to Sapphire because a database in Canada was down. Can you believe that? I was sitting at the consulate and they told me, I'm sorry, sir, the database in Canada is down. We cannot run a name check. We are not printing any visas today. A fault in a system can never result in a failure of service. It just can't. It's too critical to run businesses. So by separating out the data plane, we have multiple replicas on multiple layers, and the system will never fail. And with the independence of the compute plane, like Hasso was saying, we can run virtually limitless workloads on your data without moving it. You can run machine learning, analytics, planning, simulation, OLTP, all on the same set of data. The system behaves with greatest performance even when your business is under the greatest load. And it also, like you said, gives us the biggest benefit in engineering, because we componentize the system. We make it small, so we can do way more efficient engineering. We cannot only do one database upgrade a year with the HANA Cloud Services.
We will talk about this.
We will release it practically every other day.
We should talk about this a little bit later. One thing you mentioned, the remote access to data. We do not want to transfer data anymore. The highest risk we have is when we transfer data. Remember the banks in Switzerland where somebody transferred the data out of the systems onto a CD and then sold it to German tax authorities? Not good. So taking data out of a system should not be allowed except we do data center reorganization or things like this, highly controlled. We access data via SQL and get back result sets. Remember, this is actually how R3 worked. Remote SQL was introduced, not invented by SAP, but introduced with R3. Oracle was a great partner and built it for us. It was the foundation of three-tier client server. Thanks, Larry. We have to be nice to each other. I really think this remote access, the concept of the spaces and the data partitioning and tiering together makes us a real database now. We're grown up. So it's not for SAP only, it is for all kinds of applications. If we talk about applications, you're also responsible for the SAP analytics in the cloud, which are running now on top of these HANA Cloud services. Let's hear a little bit more about that one.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Hasso. And let's advance to the slide. SAP Analytics Cloud. We started it 4 years ago. I was contemplating together with Jürgen and with a few other people about what we want to change about analytics. We want to access data where it resides. We want to harness the full power of HANA. We want to practically become a data-driven company ourselves. We want to stop the divide of all of these different types of analytics. And this led us to basically reinvent what analytics is and how it's being engineered. We started 4 years ago with 0 lines of code. And today we have over 2,400 customers, 690 partners running on the application. And there is one reason for that. Data management alone doesn't make you a data-driven company. A fast database doesn't help you to drive business outcomes. You need to connect it to us, to the people running the business. When we need information, we need to get it at the time we need it, in the right format, on the device we are carrying, in the most concise form. We need a system that helps us answering the questions we have. And today, not only the questions that we are aware about, also the questions that we don't know about, by using machine learning and predictive technology. And that solution is SAP Analytics Cloud. And because we also wanted to talk about engineering and about being a cloud-first development organization, Analytics Cloud has over 1,000 developers. And last year alone, we released 325 times a new version of the product. That's practically every day. It's growing at an unprecedented speed because we want to change the application according to the needs that we see from our customers, to the usage pattern that we observe in the application. We want that the entire experience around innovation and software consumption is revolving around the value that you're getting out of it, and not about a cost-benefit function between value and costs of maintenance and service disruptions. And with SAP Analytics Cloud, we built the foundation of this rapid development lifecycle, and the HANA Cloud services, they're exactly geared up in the same fashion, and you will get innovation practically
Before we look at
every
the
other day.
quick demo, this is a very important statement Gerrit made. Since SAP built standard software, we are in the business of maintaining the software, bringing new versions out, enhancing the software, not only bug fixing. That shouldn't be the number one thing. With R3, I tried it, and with S/4HANA on-prem, I recommended it. Increase the number of updates. Update probably HANA bi-weekly. Till the customer said, till you said, we can't do it anymore. We're dying. We cannot permanently update the system, run the risk, whatever risk there was, and for what advantage? So the answer is, we update the system twice a year, once a year. Customers are falling back. I don't know what the average is. It's like DSO. The average SAP customer is probably 6 years back. I guess that. Probably more. Some are so far back that they don't have the security patches in the system, and then Reuters blames SAP, despite we sent the patches in 2010 and 2013, or 2009 and 2013. It's quite a while ago. There's only one way forward. Do what the Googles and the other ones do, basically permanently update the system. Gerrit, if somebody comes and says, you should slow down your update cycles, please come back to me and ask for help. That's the only way forward, is we update as quickly as we can. We learn as engineers that our updates are not harmful. We learn as engineers how we separate the concern and system. We talked a little bit about the spaces, that we can permanently update the system. We have to accelerate the speed of innovation, Bill. This is, everybody told me that. Great where you are, great plans, you have a little problems here and there and execution. We will fix that together with you. We're clear about that. But the speed of innovation has to increase. The only way is in the cloud. Forward is in the cloud. We are all clear about this. Rapid cycles of innovation, and periodically we tell you there's so much more, start learning it. Look at some tutorials, look at augmented reality where we explain to you what we can do with the system. That's the way out. Not slower release changes, much faster release changes. Back to you.
Thanks, Hasso. In a few seconds, we're going to look at a video. And because we talk at this Sapphire about experience management, it's not a video about the product. It's a video about our customers talking about their experience, how they improve their business when they're using SAP Analytics Cloud. So let's roll the video.
So we've been using Analytics Cloud for the past couple of months, and we've really seen our organization thrive off of the data we're giving them and really using that to make decisions across the organization.
We're looking at SAP Analytics Cloud to help us with business analysis, with analytics, with reporting, planning, forecasting, all in one, that one kind of all-purpose tool.
Being able to make real-time decisions based on the data sets that we've brought together, doing some of that what-if analysis within the system, and really understanding what does this mean to our organization if we shift something. So SAP Analytics Cloud and Digital Boardroom has really just made our processes a lot simpler.
Our original legacy process was to use hundreds of spreadsheets provided by the sales users on a monthly basis to calculate the forecast, and we turned that into the new process using SAP Analytics Cloud and produce a solution 5 times faster than we were previously.
So bringing together employee and customer experience data is really important to Honda. We really focus on our customer and how we can make their lives better. So what we want to do is really bring our operational data, tie it together with our customer data, and really make an impact. We can just do so much more with it, so I feel like we just are taking that next step to provide business insights and make better business decisions.
Bill, does anybody know, is Honda USA in California? Oh, the inflection was not high enough. In California? I have to mock about the Californians. Thanks, Garrett.
I have one more thing, Hasso.
A final
thing before I...
More coming?
Now, there's one big message that I want to give to all of you. We can all become data-driven. We can all leverage the vast amount of data available to us to drive business outcomes. You can all harness the power of HANA and analytics. There are only 2 things that you have to do today. One is go on sapanalytics.cloud and get your free trial today and experience the power of making fast, impactful, and confident decisions. And the second piece is go to sapdatawarehouse.cloud and join the beta program that we invite you to become part of a movement to turn data into the most available, most accessible, and most valuable asset in your enterprise. And if you want to hear more about this, come to the Best Run Theater at 2:30 p.m. to talk about HANA and analytics. And until then, Hasso, it was super fun to usher in the second age of HANA and the cloud together with you. Thank you so much for having me.
10 years ago, we did Sandy, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Do you remember? He was presenting how we can use geospatial HANA to predict what the damage will be if the water is rising and we have a surge in New York and New Jersey. That was him.
You remember
Thanks.
that? Awesome.
Thanks, Garrett. By the way, he's part of the new leadership team. So we talked about technology, what we can do with data once we have data. Let's talk now about data. And you couldn't escape that the theme was we have new data on the block now. The new kid on the block is X data. Bill talked about it, experience the intelligent enterprise with X and O data, the experience economy. I was upset when you did this, Bill. Very upset, because I didn't invent that. We were so close 6 years ago, Vishal and I, when HANA had new capabilities, and I thought we can do something, but we were just amateurs. We were not good enough. We did a few scans here and a little prototype there. We even presented them at Sapphire, and the impact was zero. Close to zero, close to zero. We need a professional. I kindly ask Jared to come forward. He's coming.
Thank you, Hasso. It's great to be here, and I really appreciate Hasso. We've been working closely on figuring out how to combine the two companies, and his mentoring has been invaluable. What I want to do today is go a little deeper into Qualtrics. And so to start out with, I want everyone to imagine a cockpit of an airplane. But it only has one gauge. And it shows how fast you are descending. In this case, 100 feet a second. No worries. But now imagine you have a second gauge. And it shows your altitude, and you're only 50 feet off the ground. The combination of those two instruments is terrifying. By the time you read them, it's game over. Instrumentation is extremely important. Just like a plane, you cannot fly your business on a single instrument, particularly in the experience economy. Yesterday, Bill and Ryan talked a lot about X and O data. I want to expand on that and be more specific about the instrumentation Qualtrics can give you. Let's start by defining X and O data. We hear it a lot, but what does it really mean? Take a look at this. It's X and O data side by side. O data tells us the cost of an R&D project. X data tells us how much people will pay for it and how much they're willing to buy. O data tells us the names of our best salespeople. X data tells us whether they're about to quit and what will motivate them and keep them more engaged. O data tells us the lifetime value of a customer. And X data tells us what it takes to avoid them churning and how to get them to consume more. From these very simple examples of the difference between X and O data, it's obvious you need both to succeed in business, particularly in the long term. So how does Qualtrics get all this X data? The short answer is we've spent 16 years building an incredibly complex platform to capture, analyze, and act on the X data. You can see all the machinery and the different analytics and things that have had to be built to take that data and make it meaningful within your business. Data can come from anywhere, whether it's social media feeds, product reviews, call center recordings, or direct responses. To make collection even simpler, this year we launched XM Solutions. Take a look at these. Each of these solutions is configurable in minutes. They work like wizards. There's solutions for everything from understanding your customer's sentiment, to prioritizing product features, to doing complex pricing studies that most companies avoid because they're too hard. There's a lot of power in the Qualtrics platform and these solutions, and particularly in their ability to provide focus, because it's setting the right priorities that often matters more than the execution. If you execute on the wrong things, you don't get to the right place. So let me give you an example of that. A few years back, a luxury hotel chain purchased Qualtrics. Their customer satisfaction and retention was going down. They asked around, and there's an expert playbook. What do you do when a luxury hotel starts losing market share? I didn't know this, but believe it or not, you revamp the spa and you add a great steakhouse. The only problem with this is these renovations cost millions. So the client used Qualtrics to determine their next move. The results surprised them. Yes, a spa and a steakhouse would work. The experts were right. But when you looked at the relative drivers, there was a different answer, a different priority, and it was a much cheaper one. We see this all the time. People focused on the wrong things as they work to compete in the experience economy because they don't have the right instrumentation to guide their business. They're running off a single gauge as opposed to the comprehensive set of instrumentation you need. What their customers really cared about was not just a great check-in experience. They wanted an exceptional check-in experience. With this data, they actually eliminated the check-in desk. Instead, you'd pull into the hotel, the guy would open your door and he'd say, hey, welcome to the hotel, what's your name? And someone would magically appear and walk you to your room and check you in along the way. That simple change that didn't take much actually worked. Loyalty has grown, demand has outstripped capacity, and to this day, their business has never been better. That is the power of getting the right instrumentation in your business. This is the power of setting priorities with X data. And this is how companies are winning in the experience economy. At a more granular level, this is what the Qualtrics platform does every day. It gives you that information or instrumentation that you need. I want to transition and talk kind of about the million-dollar question, which is how are we going to bring SAP and Qualtrics together? My view is kind of the new kid on the block is SAP has been on an amazing journey, and something fundamental is happening. I say this as a technologist with fresh eyes as I look at the company. It's something easy to miss and something Hasso spent a lot of time this morning talking about, and it's worth taking a deep look into the innovation. For years, we had to take data from one system to another, move it around just to get a glimpse of what was going on inside the business. It was hard, it was painful, and it was expensive. And as technologists, we hated doing this work. Anyone who's run their IT departments and had to stand up data warehouses teams and go through this effort, we'd take a step back and we'd just say, why? And it's because the technology had let us down. It wasn't because we wanted to do it. So clearly, with the speed of HANA and the innovations that it enables, this whole notion of operational versus aggregate data is gone. We can now report and trend and analyze any O data in our businesses in seconds. In SAP, you have the best O data instrumentation on the market. We could really mess this up as we combine the two companies if we put O data here and X data here. And so we are working hard to figure out how to bring those together, and we've been working very closely with Hasso and coming up with the right architectures. And so we'll take a minute to discuss that. So, Hasso.
Thanks. Yeah, exciting times, but if I can flip back, 1972.
That's before I was born, Hasso.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
He does this to me all the time.
Slide 25, there it is. On the left side, you see the 4 programmers of SAP. We didn't have more. Then we hired 3 more. For quite some time, we were under 10 people. We were doing customer visits. We did consulting, high-level consulting. We developed software. We introduced the software. We were our premier consultants for the software. You don't need Qualtrics in those days. You just learn by doing it. I never studied financials and built 3 financial systems. How did I do it? I listened to customers. What I learned with customer A, I carried forward to customer B and C. They updated a little bit, and then I went to D. When I came to KLM, then I was already an expert. Very easy. Many startup companies work like this, and later we write books about how smart we have been. It is the interaction with the partner, the customer, we learn on the fly. And when we are young, we are very quick learners. Then we get bigger. Then we build huge office buildings. All of a sudden, we are 100,000 people, super successful. We sit in these buildings, air-conditioned, windows looking out, in this case, on the asparagus fields of Waldorf and the sunflowers in summer. It's very nice.
I bet you worked harder in the first picture.
And we worked much harder in the first picture, yeah. We learned much faster. And we slowly lose contact to the real world. We sit in the bubble. So now we change this by forcing all of us, and that's the application of Qualtrics and SAP, all of us, that we have to face the reality outside. We currently, Jared, we have 82 projects identified, and probably when we take your prefabricated ones and check whether we find a few new ones, in the neighborhood of 100 feedback loops we will install pretty soon in SAP. It will be one of the biggest organizational influence in the history of SAP. For all these years, I tried hard, but probably failed to get more feedback from customers back into to the developers. I went to Stanford and studied design thinking and even lectured there and built design thinking centers in Germany and South Africa, all in order to change from inside out to outside in design. Get the feedback. Have the empathy for the user. I heard yesterday that even in a new system we bought, the UI sucks. I remember that we bought the system because of the beautiful UI. That's what they sold to me. And now it sucks already, Bill. Your brother said it's a never-ending story. You can't win, you only can get better. We have to get better. So people in these buildings have to feel how companies, how customers, how individuals feel. And they have to see it in front of them. I read the blogs. People declare me insane that I read the blogs. I read the bloggers. I read why they hate SAP. Have you ever worked for SAP? Have you ever done this and that? You know, if your system is 15 years old, it is not the best in the world anymore. We talked about the maintenance problem and the latency of maintenance. So I have one idea for our cooperation, Jared, and then I give it back to you. Just what we learned before, slide 28. You can access operational data directly if you have a little HANA kernel in your system. We don't want to touch your systems, at least now, later probably. We don't want to touch them.
This is the charm of Hasso.
Yeah. You have to make money. But you can access directly the operational data without transferring the data. We can build new user spaces in SAP HANA Cloud Services and using the Cloud Analytics, SAP Cloud Analytics. Use the operational data, use the experience data, and add probably other data. Or build applications there and create data locally. This is a flexibility we have never had before. And it's out of the box, instant. We just have to understand what data and what schemas the other application or the sources have. This is, for me, the biggest tool to move forward as quickly as possible without disturbing. We don't want to disturb the operational system, otherwise they cut us off, or we don't want to disturb the experience center big Qualtrics center. So this is my proposal. I hope it will work.
How many people like this proposal? Integrating with spaces and everything you've just seen. The good news is we've already had the engineering teams looking at this. Some of them.
It wasn't only a few, but
well, for those who like it, the engineering teams are going to build it. And we're already have them working together. Garrett's team and our largest engineering team are not far apart geographically, hour away, and so this is well underway. And that said, this is just the beginning. And so let me illustrate. You can't run your business with X data that only the analysts have that are building reports that people sometimes get. Think about C4 HANA. Here you have a tool where your salespeople are sitting in front of it. Wouldn't it be nice if they knew if the customer was happy or unhappy or what it would take to make them happy or needs that they don't even know they had? That's the holy grail of business. And so the true promise of X data, yes, it can begin here, but it needs to integrate through all of the systems that you're using with SAP today, and we are going to make that happen.
Where do you get your X data from? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, it's, basically it's no different than the circle. Every single set of data we collect in any different research effort underway is bespoke to the organization and what they're trying to figure out. And so simple stuff is you can hoover everything up off of social media. You can, all your product reviews, you can go direct to them with questions and surveys. You can listen to all the phone calls coming into a call center and transcribe those and use all of the machine learning and things to figure out where the opportunities are within the organization. And then my personal favorite, this is just my theory operating a business. If you want to know where the opportunities are, listen to your employees. I tested this. I went down to our service teams and I said, I want to know the customers that are unhappy. And you know what? The employees know as accurately as anyone else because they're working with them every day. And so employees are another great source. And then all of that feeds in.
We did some of those, but I think the major design mistake was not to do this holistically and take all these different sources and put them together and try to figure something out. Probably software was not good enough to do that. How did you start 16 years ago?
We started in academia, and it was really important. In fact, you guys met and saw my brother yesterday.
He's still in academia?
No, he was allergic to academia, but graduated.
I'm referring to his elegant pants.
Oh, they wear that in schools now.
Sorry.
Hasso was, we were teasing each other last night, and I told him that he needed skinny jeans. Your ratings would go up on this. And so, but what happened is our father had a key insight that, the way that research was done was going to fundamentally transform with the internet. And for those that remember research before the internet, you would have to fill out paper surveys, and they were like choose your own adventure novels, where if somebody answered a question, you'd flip to a different page and ask them. And so the idea was everything would transform if this came online. And so as that software was developed, we had a hard time selling it because corporations did not trust their employees to go do primary research. And so we ended up selling to the academics, and what came out of that was an amazing gift as it played out over the years. The first was that no study or capturing of X data in academia is the same. Everyone is different. So we had to build a platform so sophisticated that it could do whatever wacky things the professors and the students wanted to do. The second is after we basically, sold in and became the gold standard in universities, all those students started graduating with the skills to do and capture the X data and came into the company. So if you go back to your offices and perhaps even people in this room and you ask around, you will find loyal, trained Qualtrics users in your organization. And that's how our brand was built without ever doing any marketing. And the value proposition, Hasso, you'll appreciate this, was really simple. We wanted to have the Rolls-Royce product, the Ritz-Carlton service, and the Honda price point. And we figured if we could do that, that the rest would take care of itself. What we didn't realize at the time was how lacking businesses were of X data and how much guessing and bad priorities there were, and then how fast competition was going to accelerate in the experience economy, and all of that just lined up magically to be in the right place at the right time. And it's neat to see the impact that Qualtrics has every day with inside of organizations.
Similar story than what we experienced at SAP. No marketing, cost of sales in the first 10 years, less than 5%. I don't know what it's today, I don't want to know.
Hey, as an engineer, I struggled with salespeople when I first started working with them. And then I realized, and we had to teach the engineers this, without them, there's no company. And this is what comes back to, you'll hear us talking about managing the four experiences, the four core experiences, and this is what it is. If you don't have a product to sell, you don't have a company. And once you sell that product and the customers come in, if you don't keep them happy, and this is Hasso's feedback loops, you don't have a company. But then how do you keep those customers happy? It comes back to your employees.
The interesting part is a little bit what your brother said yesterday. I don't know whether it really became clear. Is whatever we do and we want to improve, there's a good chance that we fail. If we do not select the ones which are most painful, and I'll give you two examples in a second. There's general the perception our UI sucks. We get gold medals and titanium medals and whatever we get for our great design in UI. Probably we design in the wrong places. Probably these pieces are not in use, et cetera, et cetera. That all can happen. We have to figure out where it really hurts at really existent installations of our software and get that feedback back. It could be that they're not updated. It could be that the new application transactions are not activated because they have to be activated before you can use them, etc. There are two things I complain about cars, complained in the past, and I tried because I had the opportunity to work with the car manufacturers, to tell them there are major conceptual problems with your car. For example, the German premium car Porsche. The door handle sucks. When you put the hood down too hard, you have a dent in the hood because it's aluminum and the lock is pretty tight.
Why are you opening the hood, Hasso?
Huh?
You fix it yourself.
I have to learn it every time again. You have to slide it from underneath. So it's a German specialty. The clutch was so stiff that women could not use the clutch. I asked the CEO, that's a while ago, so we can talk about it now. Don't you know that the clutch is too stiff? Yeah, this is a car for men. I think in the US it's over 30% now that women are driving a 911. So they just gave away a third of the market because they said, okay, we have a clutch for men. Then the turbo came out and had a soft clutch, so what is the problem with the clutch? They finally learned it, got in 15 engineers from Toyota. They came in their white outfits. I saw them, it was impressive. Retired Toyotas, and they ran around the car and took notes and had 15 major changes. All of the ones I noted, the door handle, the hood, the clutch, they were all included, and ever since, Porsche surged up.
That is the power of Hasso's feedback.
They did it on their own. But they missed one thing, the coffee cup holder. I wrote emails. I told our representatives, please tell them they need a coffee cup holder in the US. Americans sit in a traffic jam and want to have a coffee at the right hand.
And they pay a lot for that experience, Hasso.
And it took years, and finally, triumphantly, they got coffee holders because they think they're ugly. So it took a while for the engineers. You have to push a button and then they come out. And now one for the American cars. I'm taking a limo quite often. And when I try to plug in the seatbelt, I fail. I have to use two hands, one to hold the socket up and one to plug it in. Try a German car. I just came in a Mercedes. The socket of the safety belt stands up, fixed. I need one hand. In the other hand, I still have my coffee. And, and click in. These are my examples. It's so easy to take some annoyance away. Probably it doesn't matter so much whether you get 20 more horsepower. Where can you use that? Do you really feel the difference? It's only on the charts. It's only on the computer you can see the difference. Yesterday, some of our customers told me, it was a woman, she wanted to buy, or looked at a Porsche Cayenne, and she went to a dealership, somebody showed her the car and said, oh, look, our navigation system. If you click here, and then double click there and there. She said, no, one more click and you're there. That's German engineering. You see this a little bit in the SAP systems.
You're walking Xdata, Hasso.
Give it back to us. Let us feel that somebody said, great engineering, but not for me.
All right, we will do that. Let me boil up.
Detailed. We need this on the detailed level, and what hurts, and then people have to get some empathy, feel some shame, and probably do something. I promise, I don't know how long it will take, but I promise we will do everything possible to get the feedback in till our developers say we're totally overloaded, we can't do anything anymore. That might be the end. But we will improve the system on the detailed level, not only on the big picture and the strategy. We know that we are good in strategy. We got all the confirmation for that. We also have to work on the details.
That's easy. You asked the Xdata side.
The Xdata?
Well, I was going to say, you asked where the Xdata came from. One of the things we can do is bed in applications and pick up the signal right out as people are using different software things. And we do that for a lot of the Silicon Valley companies, and happy and honored to do it here. Hasso, maybe I could boil up. So being new to the company, I wanted to give you my impressions, if that's all right. One of the things is I was... No, don't worry. I don't have the coffee holder and the seatbelt. Yeah. I was just going to say something that's struck me about SAP is how forward-leaning it is. And when we were talking last night and going through the presentation, if I was to kind of summarize, what I took away from it was you can bet on a trend or you'll be victim to a trend. So if you go back through everything that was discussed today, starting with hardware costs are going down, we've added immense complexity in our IT systems because we had these technological limitations. You can bet on that trend and adopt HANA and start to use the memory things and exploit the cost going down, or you can continue to drag the complexity in your weight. Cloud, right? You can try to do on-prem, try to keep the security updates there, try to keep the versions, or you can benefit from everything that is rolling through and the constant updates and daily shipments and things that you and Garrett were talking about. And then lastly, you can run your company, continue to run it on OData, or you can mix it with the Xdata and be infinitely more competitive and drive it forward.
You know what I understood?
What's
you
that?
can run your company on no data.
It works for a while. It works for a while. So, all right. Thank you.
Great
Hasso.
partnership. Thanks, Jared. Hugger, you see, I cannot even hug.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill, that you made this move happen. I think it will change how we work inside the company. I think we can be a role model for our customers, how you can change with X and O and combine the data. The projects have to be individual. This is not everything out of the box. There's more tools we bring together, but we will do everything to be a poster child, and we will make our industry better. Thank you very much. That was